Well, hello. Good to see you again. It's been a while since you've been on my channel. Thank you for coming by. So, what's on your mind these days? As if I didn't know, because obviously,
Yeah, we got a lot of questions. I'll try to hit it to where it's astrology related because you're not really like a psychic. You're more someone who looks at the charts.
the charts. Yes.
So, what else can you tell us about Conan,
Eileen
Aileen?
Cannon.
They're saying that she's close to being exited, stage left.
Well, I'll just say this. Very soon, within a month to 6 weeks, she's definitely entering the danger zone because one of the planets moves in, opposes her, and it's not letting go. It just continues like that into next year. So she's pushing the envelope, and I think my sense of her, I don't know what you've intuited about this, my sense of her is that she probably has some coaching going on
I do
by
too.
by other judges. So what she's doing is she keeps doing rulings that are not really something you can challenge too directly. And it's like throwing sand in the gears. You know this thing about consider two opposite points of view, even though one of them is bizarro, makes no sense at all. So my feeling is that she's going to step in it, and it's probably going to push her back. The odds are good, that she'll get in trouble. Now, whether that means the trial happens before the election, that's another story because that trial is very complicated, no matter what. So I don't know that those two go together, around saying she'll get in trouble and then Jack Smith has clear daylight to try the case. Nah, that I don't know. That
Okay.
feels
But you do
less
see within how long again she's got troubles?
by April, May at the latest. She's got definite troubles. And then the way that planet works continues deeper into the sign, but it effectively doesn't let go of that area even going into next year. So this kind of happened to her last time. She kept pushing and then she ran into a planet and they threw her out. So,
They threw her out. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
We've always said she was going to get thrown out. We didn't know when.
Hmm.
And Jack Smith is very careful about what he does.
Yeah, well, it's tricky because he has to keep in mind the law, he has to keep in mind the politics. It's pretty clear that the Supreme Court is at least partly in the tank for Trump. I mean, what they did there with the delay, it's pretty obvious. I mean, that they're even considering that this thing about immunity, that's is bizarro. You can't, it's almost like they're deliberately delaying, to
Yeah.
prevent the trial from happening. I noticed that was one of the questions whether we feel that there will even be a trial. What's your sense of that, of the Jack Smith trial? Because my feeling is that there still will be because Jack Smith's situation looks too good, for it to just be nothing, right? And really, his cases are
Oh, he's determined.
he's determined, right? So in the longer term, for sure. But what's your sense of this year, sometime in the summer, something like
I
that
think that January 6th will take off.
will take off? Yeah.
I
Well,
don't think that the records will happen until after the he loses. Trump's going to lose.
right, right. So yeah, that would be in alignment with my perception too. Just like there's another person that asked about Fonnie Willis. We both said that she would get over it. Yeah, she took a bit of a hit. I think that guy, by the way, the judge, I think he's a good judge, but he is a Trump judge. So
He is a Trump judge?
I'm pretty sure he's Republican. I don't know if he's Trump, but I'm pretty sure he's Republican. And I think, we can check into it, but I don't think he's a Democratic judge. And what I notice
But
in the
he's a good
current,
judge.
he's a good judge, but in the current environment, if someone is in one party or the other, I mean, look what happened with Navarro. Because there was a Democratic judge, he's in the slammer. But the other guy, Bannon, he had a Trump judge and he's walking, he's not in jail waiting for the appeal, right? So it shows you that this tends to happen quite a bit in the current era.
Well, and even this Donald Trump, I'm telling you, he's gotten away with more that no Joe Blow off the street would get away with. It's just
Oh no,
uncanny.
yeah, 100%. No, there's no question. I mean, it's just that the thing with the way he's pleading his case is so bizarre that even the Supreme Court, they couldn't possibly set a precedent saying yes, you're immune, because if he's immune, then Biden is immune, everybody's immune. And then it means that you can go in there and, as they said in one of the trials, the judges said, oh, you mean that you can just shoot your opponent?
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't have to worry. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So, yeah.
So, what do you get on Jeffrey Hakeem? Have you taken a look at his chart?
Yeah, he's the one, as I was telling you, that I don't have clear visibility because I don't have a time, and there's not enough in his chart. Like in some cases, for instance, I see more clarity in Eileen Cannon's chart than I do in his. His is so there. It's what I was saying. I deferred to your sense and mine too, but for different reasons, that they're likely to get the house back, and then he would be in charge. Right?
My sense, what I said from before, and I could be wrong, but I feel he's actually going to be speaker before the voting happens.
Wow, well, that would be
Because
something.
they're only one down, and now Lebowski, or the one from Alaska, she's talking about going independent. She doesn't want to have anything to do with Trump.
Really? Okay, this is a
Yeah.
new one. This just came out.
This just came out today.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that house is what a circus. So
And I
incredible.
feel we could have even another one getting ready to step down. So what'll happen is they'll do a vote. In fact, the Republicans are prophesizing this. If you put this up to take Mike Johnson down, they'll put in Hakeem. Mark my words. And they're also saying the Democrats can save Mike Johnson,
Yes.
but they want him to have a good package for Ukraine before they do it. So we'll
Right.
see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the logic of that, which that dovetails into the Ukraine situation, and it's a little complicated in that the Jupiter and Gemini starting in June is much better for Zelensky, therefore much better for Ukraine. The problem is that it does help Putin for another year as well, so it's a little mixed. It's just that when you look beyond, when you go into 25 and 26, you can see the downtrend for Putin because he's got all those Libra planets. Plus, there's that pattern that Saturn and Neptune, when they conjoin every so many years, this is my namesake, this astrologer that died in 2019. He noticed that Saturn Neptune conjunctions tied to Russia a lot. So the revolution in 1917, and then when in 1989 when they broke up. So they're getting another one now, and it's not in a favorable sign to Putin. And to me, all indications are that Russia's going to have to switch into a different gear because it's not going to work out for them. So the problem with this, though, is that everyone wants to look at just the near term, and just say, well, this isn't going well. Even the Economist, they're very conservative, blue chip. They talk about economics in the world and so forth. And I heard a couple of really good analytical podcasts where they were saying the war is likely to go poorly for Ukraine this year, but much better next year, which aligns with the way I would see it, in the charts. So, yeah.
Well, that big thing that happened at that music place, even though ISIS is taking the credit, they're the ones that did it. And Putin just wants to change that and make it into Ukraine.
Yeah, no, Ukraine, or I also heard him, this is like the Putin and Trump, they throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks. Because the first statement was that it was the U.S. because the U.S. warned the embassy said, don't go to these concerts because they had intelligence, but Russia doesn't trust their intelligence. Well, their intelligence is pretty good because it was true. And now they're
And also Russia made fun of us, giving him they were like, can you believe the West interfering, trying to make us afraid?
Well, yeah, but see, then the next step is when it happens, well, then it must have been the West. But again, that's a big leap.
Yeah.
The U.S. All of a sudden, the U.S. is ISIS. I mean, come on. This is
Yeah.
It's like the whole Trump thing. You just hear more and more improbable things. Like, did you hear the latest one with Trump that now he says he has the money. He says, I have the 500 million, but I want to use it for the election, and they're forcing me to use it for this. Well, what amazes me is that the judge doesn't immediately haul him into court and say, you said in a deposition that you had the money, right?
Right.
Then it turns
and
out
his
you
lawyer
don't.
said he doesn't.
Well, if you have it, pony it up, right? I mean, it should be, straightforward. But anyways, that's the crisis the country's in. That all this stuff, because you have a person that is so indecent. It's like there are no rules. Everything is upside down.
Yeah. So, does that comet that currently is visible in North America impact the eclipses? Or a major impact on certain former presidents' chart?
The eclipses?
Yeah, the
Well,
one that's coming. In fact, we're going to go see it in Texas. But
yeah,
is that comet that can be seen also going to have any kind of impact?
I don't know if I would tie anything to the comet. I would say no. I stick to there's more than enough information in planets. By the time you start talking about comets and stars, you're really going out there, like literally, you're really going out there. And then eclipses, what I notice is that yes, there may be some impact. That's an area that I don't specialize in. The idea that it's crossing through Texas, and someone said to me that it goes through the part where Detroit, that part of the country, and kind of goes down. So you could get something that, for example, in Texas, I could see a problem with immigration or something around that
Right.
time. But what to me is more to the point is that those degrees are really bad for Trump, and that's why he's in the jam that he's in, because the part of the degrees are 5, 6 degrees Aries Libra. That's an area he doesn't like at all, and eclipses signal before and then they drag after. So he's already been, and we know that this has been building. It peaks then. I mean, it's pretty symbolic that on Monday it's when he's got to decide what he's going to do. But then the fallout, the wake of that goes for another 6 months, 5, 6 months. That's the way the eclipse works. And the one that comes next month, that one is at 19 Aries because it's in the same sign. No better, because same in his chart, it's the legal house. It's a mess. So neither of those is good for Trump, right? That's the thing that I focused on most.
Have you taken a look-see at Sherrod Brown?
No, I haven't. Thanks for
Okay.
reminding me. But what my sense of Sherrod Brown, though, without even looking at the chart, if I find something different, I'll let you know,
Okay.
is that he's going to win because the person they chose in Ohio,
Marino?
yeah, but in fact, Sherrod Brown wanted him to be the nominee.
Yeah, because he's the Trumpster.
Because he's a Trumpster. So even though Ohio is trending red, too many problems, because Sherrod Brown is going to, first of all, has a long track record of actually being helpful to the people of Ohio.
Yeah.
Know him really well. And they carry the problem with the women's rights. It's a huge problem. And in Ohio,
Oh, I know.
Ohio voted against it. And I'm sure Sherrod Brown is going to be reminding them, that
And
this guy,
the women's issue is but he's that ugly Trumpster type of energy.
exactly. So I would say, sight unseen, no chart. My feeling is Brown is going to win that. Do you sense the same thing?
I know, yeah. In fact, Sterling and I did a show this morning. I've known Sherrod was going to win, but Sterling also said he's going to win.
There you go. Yeah. So
Elon Musk gives me the creeps.
yeah.
With the political uproar that we are dealing with. Will Elon Musk get involved with the Republicans?
Well, he already is involved with the Republicans.
Yeah, and you know what? He said he's going to announce who he's in favor of. We know. He does all the language that the Republicans do about ending immigration and all that. Yet he's an immigrant, so.
Yeah, well, the thing with him is that he has a brilliant mind around business, technology, and so forth.
He's genius, but he's Asperger's.
Yeah, and the thing with when you see a person make these bad choices, by bad choices I mean he's lining himself up with the minority. Clearly, the less people like what he's saying, and then because he's Cancer, so Cancer is a cardinal sign. It's the same part. The cardinal signs: Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, Libra. That's where Putin is. That's where Elon Musk is. My feeling is that when we get into 25, 26, 27, he's going to suffer as a result of the choices he's made, because that's what Saturn does. It comes in to stop you, to enforce, the social order. And so then, in a way, he's another data point that I use to lead me to believe that the Republicans will not be in power during those years. But because now he's tilted that way. He's decided that he'd rather have Republicans in power, which I think is crazy, in my opinion. I mean, the part that is most befuddling is when you hear that he used to be an Obama supporter. How do you go from Obama to this? It's beyond something. In you
Carrie
has to be a
Lake
little
was an
loose.
Obama supporter. Carrie Lake was an Obama.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I don't see her winning nothing.
No, I heard I haven't checked in a while, but yeah, this is the thing that I know a lot of people are nervous, but keep remembering that all elections since 2017, year after year after year, mayoral races, Congress, everywhere, the majority doesn't like MAGAism. They don't like it. Right?
No.
They just don't like it. So any candidate that is associated with that is more likely to lose than to win. They can win primaries and you get the odd person that wins, but overall they lose more than they win. So it's a
Right.
big problem. Yeah.
Here's a good one. I don't know if you looked at DeSantis in a while, but he's saying he's going to release the Epstein docs in July. Do you see bad news for Trump in July besides the bad news that's already coming? Will these Epstein docs affect him at all?
Well, the only thing is that well, yeah, they would, but July is not great for DeSantis himself. Remember, we had said this long ago that he was running, and my feeling was, well, how is he going to win the nomination when it doesn't look good in the middle of the year, right? So,
Right.
if he releases those docs, it'll probably rebound to him in some negative way. Probably because if what he does hurts Trump, then
They're gonna
then
be
the
mad,
MAGAs will
yeah.
hate him. You know.
Yeah. Susan Sullivan asked, will Harry become king? I just think what we should ask is about our Princess Kate. Now, I told everybody she had cancer. Hands down. And I also see Prince Charles, fighting like hell, but I don't know how much longer he has. But I still see William in there. I don't see him stepping down.
Well, I just did my class today. Where I spent a long time on Kate's chart.
Oh, wait a second. Is that the membership class?
Yeah.
I'm a member. I can go back and look at it.
Yeah, you can. I mean, the astrology is pretty dicey. What she's in is textbook, and it's dangerous. It really is. We don't know what it is. Like, for
No,
example,
but
'cause
her look on her face, God bless her sweet soul. And,
Okay.
I'm telling you, I mean, they were shell shocked. This took them out of, because they told her this isn't cancer, then they operated and found cancer. And so I think they're going to do everything possible to try to save her life. But it feels like a rough road to me. Like I don't get, oh, she's going to recover and no problem. I'm not
No.
feeling it. But Jesus, how much more can this poor, between Diana dying and then his wife, having this horrible disease with these beautiful children. It feels so tough. But yeah, she's got a tough road. She could pass it like I did. I conquered cancer, but I went through some tough times.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that is it adds to the danger, to the fear, is that you can see in her and in Prince William both, because you check both charts. So in Prince William, the health aspects he's got lots of those. They could affect him, but I see this quite a bit in astrology. It's like when Obama, back in 2009 and 10, had a lot of health aspects, but it was because it was the health of the country. He was dealing with a health problem on the broader scale, especially when you're in public, right? So at the moment, William is dealing with health issues, but in both cases, they last years. This does not go away.
No.
It goes into next year, the year after. There are still strong patterns in 26, 27. That part worries me because, depending on the diagnosis, because it's very different if they say whatever it is in the abdomen, but if it's pancreatic, it's like a death sentence, and they haven't said yet what it is. So
but you don't do surgery and then find pancreatic cancer. Like I think they found pancreatic cancer with Charles. But with her, they did something intestinally, thinking that it was going to be okay, and then found cancer. And the thing about that type of cancer is you can get rid of it, and then it comes right back.
can come back. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. So I mean, bottom line,
'Cause if it was liver cancer, pancreatic cancer, those, the blood work would show.
would show. Well, the bottom line to that is that her chart is really accurate. Well, let me backtrack. Her chart actually is not as accurate, like solid as Prince Charles and Prince William, but there's a time there that was given by someone, and when I tested it, to me it looks really accurate. So, and the way this thing is turned out, it's exactly what you would expect, and it's a dicey situation. There's no question.
Yeah.
Remember that I said this to you a few weeks ago. You had asked, and I texted you saying I don't like her chart at all. It's for that reason. And then when I set it up to teach the class, I just kept finding more and more problems. The more I looked.
I know. Well, psychically, my hit was that she was really bad. She was really sick. And Diana, I got a visual of Diana kicking off her shoes and saying she's wearing my shoes now. So a lot of people were talking about he had an affair and he's causing all this trouble, which could be true, but it was deeper than that. It was more trouble than that. And my guide said that at that time that she was in trouble. And the guides also, and when Diana kicked off her shoes, then I thought, well, what was the reason Diana says she's in my shoes now? It's because of the overwhelming people bugging the crap out of them. Everybody had a new story. People were acting like she was in a coma or she was dead. I'm like, no, the royal family wouldn't hit that. It's something pretty traumatic that shocked everybody.
Yeah.
But the public was just wouldn't let it go, and that's why Kate is wearing Diana's shoes. She knows that feeling of you don't have any privacy.
Yeah, and the thing is that you see when you look at her chart, say next to Diana's chart signals really strongly. Any astrologer would have said to her things like, if you're in a car, put on your seatbelt because you've got the car thing, be careful. So she didn't. That's what happened. Kate's.
Didn't she say though she had to be careful because of a car crash? She thought the royal family was going to set it up.
You mean Diana?
I remember she had an astrologer tell her.
Yeah, that I don't know, but what I do know is that would have been the potential one thing, to.
If she had just wore a seatbelt, she might have lived.
She might have lived, right? So but you see that in her chart, she was a Cancer, had the moon in the transportation houses. It's a clear, direct warning. In Kate's case, she's born on a full moon with the sun and moon in the health houses. That you could almost say at her birth, you're going to have a problem here at some point. And in fact, if you were an astrologer, you would have said your early 40s look pretty dicey because there's that and there's all kinds of other things that are pointing to this period of time. So that's the karma of that chart, having a full moon like that.
Wow,
that's
I didn't know
textbook
that.
Astrology. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, and Elaine said, what is the most likely timing for Trump's bankruptcy? I don't think he's going to do another bankruptcy.
I think bankruptcy in his case is, we're seeing it happen in the sense that, well, let me tell you this, right? The Saturn cycle tells you a lot. If you look back to where it was 30 years ago, wherever it was in your chart, it's a great way to, look at your life. Oh, I was there and now it's repeating, right? Well, Trump 30 years ago, when he was most broke, that's in the mid 90s when he declared a huge loss. Remember that $2 billion loss? And between 95 and 2000 is like between now and the end of the decade, right? So they were his worst years. No one knew about Trump. Now, back then, where Uranus and Neptune were helped him to get out of the jam. Not this time, right? So this time, but the repeat to being really broke, being, in fact, there's a story that apparently he told, he was walking in New York and he was so broke, he told Ivanka, that homeless person has more money than me right now. That's how bad it was, right? So here we are. I mean, you tell me what is going to happen. I mean, he's in a major jam,
Yeah, well, he bankrupted they say that's hard to do, a casino.
Oh, more than one. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, that's
but, his son Eric was talking about nobody's had to pay this kind of bail money and all this. I said, you know what? nobody has gotten away with more than your father has.
Oh, of
He,
course, of
he went
course.
through life dissing people, not paying people, and if they tried to get their money, he'd sue them. I said, it's coming back to roost.
No, I mean the victimization thing is getting old. This thing that he keeps
And
doing,
that's,
because by the way, uh, why has this never happened before? Because we've never had an effing crook like this before. I mean, what are you talking about? It's pretty obvious. You can't find even the worst, that crazy person that took over Abe Lincoln, who was a total first-class racist. They were trying to get rid of him any way they could. He was better than Trump. So, I mean, you can't get any lower than
you
this.
can't get
This
any
is,
worse than him.
this is the worst, right? So that's why society pushes back, because it has to, and that's why he's in trouble. And
We're gonna make it through, that I can tell you.
yeah, well, and the thing about it is that in his chart, in Trump's chart, the same pattern that is putting tremendous pressure on his money, it's just the way astrology this way, has these really interesting categories where the house of taxes is also the house of death, the house of insurance, the house of loans, other people's money. He's getting that, and he could potentially get a lot worse because it's a dangerous house, right? You don't want planets
Well,
there.
let me tell you, that's why I just was like, Andre is the man, because you sat there with the charts and told all of us, you know how he gets away with everything? Seems like things just slide off of him. Watch this space, because
Yeah.
pretty soon
Mhm.
it will come back on him, and it'll come back with a vengeance. That's why he's so shocked. He always could get away with anything.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is the rule of life. I mean, things work until they don't. There's so many things that you're going along, everything is great, and then overnight, they don't. I mean, yeah, it's happening in all kinds of places to all kinds of people. And he's at an age, when you are in your late 70s, with his attitude to health, the pressures that he's under, and the chart together, it's not good.
It's not good.
Not good. No.
But I do see him still alive. I see him still living right now. In fact, Sterling mentioned that today. He will be alive during the presidential election. He may die after, but he will still be alive. And he's going to lose big time.
Well, there is the thing though that what's your sense of a number of psychics, readers who don't think he'll actually be able to run?
Yeah, well, because he's going downhill fast. I think more Republicans are going to bounce out. I think him taking over the RNC is pissing off a lot of people. Like, where's the money so we can run? You're taking it all. And I just feel like he's bankrupt the RNC. I just feel a lot of Republicans are seething now.
Right.
And then, Mike Johnson, he's losing Republicans right now. He's only one above. And Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to act like they're going to get rid of him. Do it, girlfriend, because watch this space. We'll get Mike to either, okay about Ukraine, or we're going to vote for Jeffries and get the votes for Jeffries.
Yeah, no, that's well. I mean, did you see the thing? That house and comedy, it's like unbelievable that George Santos put out a tweet.
Oh,
saying,
I'm so disappointed with the Republicans. They're such liars and cheats. I've decided to go independent.
I know. It's just hilarious. It's hilarious.
He's like Trump, though. It's that you can smell the crap and they deny it, That's not crap.
Yeah, no, it's this is the thing. The hardest part that upsets everyone and makes everyone most worried is that because we're in the echoes, the period of the Civil War, that the country's in that very divided state, that even this kind of thing could be happening, because normally these people would have no traction at all. They would just be rejected outright. I mean, they're complete fools. They're liars. But we're in this period where, lots of people for different reasons will still back them. But even so, what I notice is I try to track all the information coming in, and I'm sure you've seen this too, that you get too many reports of things that are going down. Like, for instance, he's not getting nearly as much support from his donors. That's not good. When your donors...
made last month he made $10,000.
Who?
Trump.
Well, whatever. I mean, I didn't see that. That's really bad. But what they said was, you start to see diminishing numbers. That's why Biden is getting a lot more money and so forth. So those things they don't help you.
No.
They show an erosion, and then the ultimate outcome isn't good. So
Can I tell you something besides the good news that you see Cannon's chart kind of going downhill, April and May? Well, it was announced, and I saw this today, and someone just mentioned this. She's lost 2 of her law clerks just recently. They quit.
I saw that, but I didn't read the story. So do you have any other inside info on it?
No,
Or
just that 2 of her law clerks left. And I'm sure it's because they know she's a whack job, because even part of the stuff she said, first of all, they don't have a date for the trial. Second of all, they haven't even selected a jury yet. And she's already deciding on jury questions based on a civil thing, not a felony, not a,
Criminal.
it's a civil, it's not criminal. And that's, I think, the one Jack Smith's grabbing. I think we're going to hear some news about that. But I'm sure those law clerks is like, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah, no, I mean, and by the way, it would not surprise me either if I don't have a birth time for her, so maybe there would be something that would say that, yeah, one of her clerks, like that's one of the houses in astrology, or someone around her that could say something. Yeah, because this is the thing, right? You see about this whole crew of people, the amount of stuff that comes out from their own people is just completely remarkable. Like almost any one of them, and all of a sudden you'll see on Fox News someone saying, "Oh, well, then this happened," and you think, "Wait a second, this person works with you, and yet they're bailing on you because they see that you're such a crook." So we find out from them. So you notice that Trump and the Republicans, for years, they say, "Oh, it's all Democrats." There's almost never a Democrat in the middle of it. It's always a
And
Republican.
the ones who are going to trial to throw them under the bus are all Republicans.
Yeah, exactly. All of them. Yeah, yeah. Not to mention that, by the way, Pence stated he's not backing Trump, and well, yes, that should be a pretty big signal, when the person next to the guy, although obviously he didn't. I guess he tried.
Well,
to
most
kill
of the
himself.
people that worked for Trump, all of his bigwigs are not voting for him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So.
What are the Libra and Aries node positions this year? Why are the Libra and Aries nodes positions this year feeling so hard on Aries and Libra?
I saw that question. That's usually someone who's an Aries or a Libra not feeling good and asking that question, or they may know someone else, but it's not backed by the total numbers. Not every Aries or Libra will have problems just because of the nodes. If anything, if you are going to have more problems, it could be in 25, 26, 27, depending on how you live your life, because those years can be the most important toward going to the next step in your life. So they're okay that way. But for someone like Putin, who's entrenched in a certain thing, that is not the same thing. That's a warning signal. Or Elon Musk, right? When you see someone going down what looks like the wrong road, then the planet can really harass you, that being Saturn. But that happens in 25, 26, 27. So the nodes, no. I would not say that that's true.
Martha says, I have a grand trine, T-square, a rectangle, and a yacht in my natal chart. Am I a mess or what? Girlfriend.
You said it, not me. No, I mean, look, that just means there's a lot of activity in a chart. And the thing with a chart is there's no way to know how the person is using it. Best example I can give of this is that I recently had a session with a person born very close to Trump's date and with the same ascendant. But this person was doing it completely different from Trump. The person was using the 12th house, for example, in a spiritual sense, which is the potential of the 12th house on the high side. Trump uses it to commit crimes. So because he commits crimes in that house, he gets that karma, building. And a person who's doing something spiritual gets different karma. Charts in that way look sort of, they have echoes of each other.
Will. Yeah.
So you have to know, what are you doing with your yacht? What are you doing with your grand trine? Because the grand trine is a lucky thing to have unless you get too self-satisfied, because trines, you feel at ease. So you could be emotionally, for example, a grand trine in water is emotionally self-sufficient, but you can be emotionally self-sufficient in the wrong way, where you are convinced of something that perhaps you should shake yourself up out of, right? So
Exactly.
you got to look at the whole chart, people, before you can
Yeah.
say, yeah.
Okay, can Andre share some insight about the upcoming Jupiter-Uranus conjunction and the influences this transit may have on the collective?
Well, first of all, that conjunction happens pretty quickly because sometimes with these planets, what will happen is the planet will join, one planet joins the other, and then it retrogrades over it again and one more time. So then that has more impact because it extends over many, many months. This one is just Jupiter catches Uranus and goes right through and never comes back. So it's like 3-4 days. I mean, it's a moment when really the way I've looked at that conjunction is that it's in a really dicey place for the Orange Menace. It's in these degrees that link to his moon, and there are astrologers who think that'll help him with judges.
Yeah,
I would be more worried about a health event around that time because that angle that it's making and the fact that Uranus is involved, and Uranus is a neural kind of connection in astrology. Jupiter Uranus going through there like that is risky for him. So really what you should be
Right.
asking is the collective. I think in this case it's more relevant to the individual. What is the conjunction doing for you in your chart, right? Where is it that and what is it doing?
right, yeah. Will Jared Kushner ever be held to account for what he's done?
Well,
We can't subpoena him now because the recubes are saying no.
well, he's another one that based on his doings and on his past, the Saturn cycle in 25, 26, 27 is threatening. Not now though. I would be very surprised if right now something came
Yeah.
up. But do you get anything like that on him in 2024? I don't see him in the danger zone that way.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
And by the way, this is the thing that
But
people
I
are
do
saying.
see him with an orange jumper, so he's going to jail at some point.
Oh, well, there you go. Then he can join his father because that's what Chris
There you
Christie
go.
put it. Chris Christie put his father in jail. He won't be putting him
But
in jail, but it'll be
Trump
somebody
got
else.
him out, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Hillside said lunar eclipse on Trump's second house natal Neptune, exposing his deception big time, question mark.
Yeah, that I don't, the system I use, I put that in his third, not his second, but it doesn't matter because the Neptune is linked to a money house anyway. So that eclipse is really clearly, it's a blend of two things. One is that the information flow is really disturbing to him because when you keep reading whether it's in a newspaper or on TV you watch or you hear he's going broke, he has no money, he just hates that. He can't stand that kind of thing. So the messaging is very, very upsetting. And then there's the thing itself, because the thing itself is really bad.
Yeah.
He can start losing. Letitia can start putting liens on properties. It's pretty horrible. So
Yeah, so
we'll
this
see.
next week, we should see a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, we should see.
So, tell us about your being a member. I'm a member now. So we get to learn astrology?
Yeah, well, so what I'm doing in the membership is one side is a lot of astrology interpretation. There's no way to learn astrology if you don't immerse yourself in it. I'm sorry, but there's no way around that. It's like anything. It's a language. It's like
I
you try
don't
to
really
learn.
want to learn it. I want to know some of the language
Well,
stuff.
right. Well, okay. So then, like in a way, if you want to see an argument for something, then you have to trust. If you say, "Well, I don't care numbers," so then you'd say, "Well, he's saying it. I think he knows something, so I'll believe it." So that's one way. The other way is you're looking at what I'm doing and teaching yourself how to do it for yourself or for others, right? That's one side. The other side is using it to improve your life. This is where I had a young woman on in a collaboration who happens to use her planets really well at a really young age, meaning that kind of how I said earlier, if you look at a chart of a person who's using the 12th house spiritually, much, much better than if they're committing crimes, obviously, right? So if someone is using their planets well, they get a different fate. Different things happen to them, right? So the proactive side of astrology is the most important, is understanding what to do with your planets. And you don't have to know how to read charts or do charts to do that. if you just follow good principles, right, around what the
Right.
planets mean. And so that's what I'm doing in the membership area. So there's a lot of information in there, basically.
Right.
If you join,
So we just go to your channel and hit
yeah, and join,
members.
yeah.
But
join
you
the
can't do
membership.
it through the phone. You have to do it on the computer.
Yeah, I think I've heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true.
So, well, thank you, my friend.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for
Maybe
coming
we
by.
can connect next week.
Yeah, well, next week, we probably will have something to connect about, right?
I think we're gonna have something to talk about.
All right. Well,
All
it
right,
was great. Bye, everyone. Until next
bye.
time.